everyone, welcome back. Today's video is a mess. Right off the bat, I spilled a green eyeshadow all over one of my brand new rugs and I'm heartbroken. So now I need to figure out how to try to get it out. Okay, today we are kicking off, and by the way, it's not October. Like, I am filming a little early, but like not this early. I'm just not quite ready to like go spooky season yet. But today we are kicking off a series of videos that will not be put up in order, so don't get excited. But basically today I'm going to do my Everything I've Hit Pan In #2 video, and then next week or later on in a few days will be a face palette declutter, and then an eyeshadow palette declutter, and then the grand finale is a pan in every palette intro take 2. We're gonna try it again, okay? Because so many of my palettes don't excite me, and there's palettes coming out and so many of them I'm like, no. But some of them I'm like, ooh. And I'll have you guys know, I am actually passing up the Urban Decay Naked, the Cyber one, because I was looking at it and I almost bought it because I was like, oh, it's Urban Decay Naked, let's go. But here's the thing, I don't really like it. Like, it's okay, right? But it's meant to be like that very wash, kind of, the wash of color that's very like holographic and things like that. I don't know. I'm not super into it. So as of right now, I've decided not to get it. I looked at it, the shades aren't really for me. It doesn't excite me as some of the other new palettes that I am purchasing do. And I just, you know, so it's time to, I'm done collecting the Urban Decay Naked palettes, because half of them, I only have them because the Urban Decay Naked palettes. Anyways, this declutter series, you guys, I can feel the weight being lifted from my shoulders, and I am buying makeup, but I'm buying stuff that like has been on my wish list that like I've been kind of keeping an eye on and like watching reviews on and stuff like that. And so I feel so excited about this stuff, and I buy so much all the time that like the excitement isn't always there. But this time, because I am buying a lot, but like I'm taking my time with it, you know? And I'm waiting for sales, and I'm waiting, and I'm putting things in my cart, and I'm waiting, and I feel just this excitement that has really gotten away from me. So we're gonna try to bring that excitement back, okay? Try to just cool it down a little bit and make sure that what I'm buying is really bringing me joy. Anyways, enough rambling. Today we're doing Everything I've Hit Pan In. I have a list. According to my list, I have hit pan in 62 items since my last video. It has been a while, and I've been doing like project pans and stuff in between here. So let's run through this. Okay, the first thing, should I go in order? Does it matter? I'm gonna go in order. You guys, I destroyed my drawers and my shelves where all my palettes are and everything. Thank goodness I did this video before I did my declutters, because it would have been a nightmare. And some of these palettes are probably gonna end up getting decluttered too. Anyways, okay, I have a list on my phone. The first product, the first thing I hit pan in was in the Charlotte Tilbury Easy Eye Palette for the Charlotte Darling look. I hit pan in this shade right here. All of these products will be linked down below, by the way, because I am a masochist. And oh no, don't do that. These products will be linked down below though. Okay, so I hit pan in this shade right here. It's a good shade. I actually do like this palette for the fact that it's such a neutral palette, and that's not really what I go for. I do like some neutral palettes. Obviously, they're always good things to have in your collection, and I do use them sometimes, just not all the time. But I like this palette, and this shade right here is gorgeous. Use it as a topper, inner corner, anything like that. So easy to hit pan on. I just dropped it. Oh my god. Okay, the next thing that I hit pan on was from Dose of Colors. This is the Desi and Katy Friendcation palette. I hit pan in the shade Churro. I have talked about this palette so many times. This is one of my favorite palettes like in existence ever. It's so beautiful. Churro was obviously, it's a shimmer shade. There's a lot of shimmer shades that you'll be seeing here today, because those shades you tend to hit pan in very quickly because they are not as hard pressed as mattes are, and I use shimmer very much. I'm totally blanking on the word I'm trying to say, but I use a lot of shimmer haphazardly on myself. This is a gorgeous shade. I love this palette. Oh, this is so, and actually I will say this one took me a lot longer because I used this quite a bit, and it took me longer to hit pan in than I thought it would, but either way, I'm okay with it. The third product I hit pan on was the Fiona Stiles Full Coverage Perfect Finish Concealer, the Peach Corrector Concealer. I actually finished that off, so I don't have that. And then from there, I used the Lorac Pro Palette, and I hit pan in 2 shades in this one. I hit pan in light pink and light bronze. I also have a pan in cream, but that was from a different time. These are the two new updated pans. This, when I did a declutter previously, I ended up decluttering all of my Lorac palettes except for this one because I feel like this is like just the best, most basic one. Will I keep it this time? I don't know. But I hit pan in 2 of the shades. This is just an old palette now. Like, it's so old. It's like a good everyday palette though. It's so basic and nice. I hit pan in a shade from the Urban Decay Naked 2. I hit pan in YDK. Again, a beautiful shimmer shade. This is one of my favorite Naked palettes. It's old though. I don't know why I have all these ridiculously old palettes. And of course, like, they don't perform as well as they used to because when I say old, these are old. But anyways, I hit pan in YDK. It's a good shade. I really like it actually. Like I said, this is one of my favorite palettes and I've got really close to pan in several other shades. It's a classic. It's a classic for a reason. Here's a single. This is the Wet n Wild Megaglo Highlighting Powder in Blossom Glow. There's like a little teeny tiny pan on the inside of that. This is a stunning highlight and I feel like these Wet n Wild highlights do not get talked about enough. They are gorgeous. I love them. They're so pretty and so pigmented and flashy. Oh. Okay, is it any surprise I hit pan in that? I love it. I want to use this again. I should pull this out. It needs to be like wiped down, but like I should pull it out. These little Tarte palettes I also love. This is the Tarte Hamptons Weekender Contour Palette. I hit pan in the Beach Getaway highlight shade. I will say, okay, look, it's almost gone. You literally have just like the inner corners. But since I hit pan in this, I have used it a lot. And so obviously I've just worked away at that pan. I love this little palette. It's perfect for my skin tone. The shades work great. I don't think it would work well on darker skin tones because it is really light. But if you have a light complexion, this is great. Everything looks so beautiful and the highlight is stunning. I go way heavy handed with this highlight, but it is so worth it because it is so freaking pretty. Lots of pressed powders here. The Covergirl Clean, this is the normal skin pressed powder in Classic Ivory. I hit a little tiny baby pan on this one. I love these powders from the drugstore as well. These are fabulous. They give you a pretty decent coverage, but it is light enough that you can wear them as a finishing powder. There is like a little bit of coverage to it though. So obviously it needs to match with like whatever makeup look you're doing. I like it. I like to use it as a finishing powder because I like to have the extra like full coverage, but I know a lot of people who just use this as like a powder foundation. The coverage isn't there for me because it is a pressed powder, not a powder foundation. Does that make any sense at all? It's good powder. I highly recommend it. These are my absolute favorite from the drugstore and they are cruelty free, so it's a win-win-win. Win-win-win. Also a great powder. This is like my second, like these are my favorite powders. This is the IT Cosmetics Your Skin But Better CC Plus Airbrush Perfecting Powder in Fair. Again, a little teeny tiny baby pan. I will say I have some of the Bye Bye Pores pressed from IT Cosmetics. I think I like those a little bit more, but this one is just as good. And I hit panned it pretty quickly because it's a pressed powder and we all know I slather that shit on my face. I hit pan in my lipstick palette. This is the Urban Decay Vice lipstick palette. I hit pan in the Ex-Girlfriend shade. Listen, part of me wants to have all of my lipsticks in just one singular palette and then I can just pull that out. But then the other part of me hates how non-travel friendly this is. And the texture of the lipsticks I don't really like because they're like so thick. So I don't know if this is gonna make it. I ended up getting rid of like all of my other lipstick palettes in my last declutter. I kept this one. And I don't know, I like it. I like the shades and everything, but like I never use it because it's a lipstick palette. You know what I mean? I feel like as a society, we've almost kind of moved on from those. I personally don't know a single person that likes lipstick palettes, but let me know in the comments if you do. Also, I hit pan in the Anastasia Beverly Hills lip palette. That has already been decluttered. It's already gone. More powders. This is the e.l.f. Sheer Tint Finishing Powder in Fair. Again, nice little baby pan right there in the center. This is actually a good powder. I like this a lot better than I thought that I would, and there's like a decent amount of product in here. This was a good one. I liked this. I might end up repurchasing this once I finish it off. I liked it. The Too Faced Sweet Peach palette, I hit pan in the Luscious shade Naturally. These Too Faced palettes, I'm not the biggest fan of. The eyeshadow formula is fine, but it is so hard pressed. And I don't know. Something about it I just don't like. I like their, like, the gingerbread ones, I think the most. And I ended up getting rid of most of my Too Faced tin palettes like this. I don't know. But I hit pan in Luscious. It smells so good and I really like that. But this shade, it's a shimmer shade. Look at the rest of the palette, you know? I don't know. Plus it's a whole lot of neutrals and it's not like, I I don't know, man. Too Faced palettes in me. I don't know. Beauty Creations, the Cali Chic palette. I'm pretty sure this is like a BoxyCharm palette. I hit pan in the shade Beach Babe. I actually really like this palette. I think it's beautiful for a neutral palette. This is the type, this and like that Charlotte Tilbury one, those are the types of neutrals that I like. Much different than the Too Faced neutrals, but they get me a little bit more excited. I don't know why. I really can't explain it. Like, I'd have to actually sit down and like look at all of the shades, but I like this one a lot more than I like the Too Faced ones. So this is gorgeous. This shade, obviously I was not expecting to hit pan in first because it is such a dark matte, but this entire palette, oh, so good. I seriously, this is one of my favorite palettes that I've gotten from a BoxyCharm because it is so good. I hit pan in a couple more things that I no longer have. I'm literally going in order here. I hit pan in the Smashbox Be Legendary Cream Lipstick Palette in the shade Honey. I don't have that anymore. I decluttered it because lipstick palette. I also hit pan in the Ulta Beauty 4-piece Peach Paradise Eyeshadow Collection Flare. I might still have that one, but I'm almost positive that I decluttered it during my last eyeshadow palette declutter. It was terrible, and I hit pan in it the first time that I used it, and it was on camera actually, and it was just so bad. If I still have it, I won't have it for very long. This is the Natasha Denona Bloom Blush and Glow palette. I hit pan in the Glow Extreme shade. I love Natasha Denona's face palettes. Seriously, they bring me so much joy. I love them so much. I know she just came out with a new one and I'm debating getting it, but I haven't decided yet. But this is one of my favorites. The shades in here are so gorgeous. The highlight shades, the blush shades. I love the fact that the cream shades are separated under the plastic. This shade is stunning. Oh my goodness. Okay, love this palette. No surprise at all that I hit pan in it. I wish I could give you more information about how long it took me, but I've been keeping this list for a very, very long time. Oh, the Colored Rain Juicy Boost palette, you guys. This palette was one of those palettes that has been on my wish list for so long. Finally broke down and bought it, and I freaking loved it. And this is kind of what inspired me to start buying things that were on my wish list instead of impulse buying. It's been going okay. I feel like that might have been last year. You know what? I'm a work in progress, and I'm okay with that. I hit pan on the Lemon Wheatgrass shade though. I love this entire palette except for the Kale Ya shade. The Kale Ya shade has some blending issues. Everything else seems to work really well except for this. But I hit pan in the shade Obviously So Pretty, and I actually have not used this palette since I hit pan in it, and I need to because I love this palette so much. It is so pretty. The shades are so gorgeous. And this is what I want. I want a collection that does nothing but get me excited. And I'm not gonna go on my rambling bit because I always do. Every year I say the same thing, but I feel like I've made so many good changes in my life this year, and maybe I'm a little bit more mature, I don't know, but I feel like I'm finally ready to like I've been more careful with my shopping. The Boxy sale happened and I didn't impulse buy a whole bunch of new makeup I wanted to try. I literally only bought replacements for things and a couple of things that had been on my wish list, and I really feel like this is my year. 2022, I think, is gonna be my year. And I'm sure you guys are sick of hearing me talk about it because literally it is an every year thing, and that's fine, and I apologize. But one of these times it's gonna stick. Okay? And I feel like now that I've done my whole house, I'm ready. You know what I mean? And I'm still finding random shit throughout the house to declutter, and it makes me feel so good. So let's focus. Okay. I feel like I've had so much of this conversation in my head, and I decided I wasn't going to talk about it because I didn't want to give the whole speech and then not do it again. Because, you know, I would like to have accountability, but I feel like I've had so much of this conversation in my head that now I'm just giving you guys like bits and pieces of it, and none of it's going to make any sense. So just ignore the ramblings of the crazy lady. I'm just trying to improve my life for myself. So thank you. Okay, the Katy palette. This is the Picante palette. Oh, you guys. Again, one of my favorite palettes. I don't know why. This makes me so excited. I hit pan in the Sunrise shade, which is this orange right here. So beautiful. This entire palette is so gorgeous though. Genuinely one of my favorite palettes. I don't remember where I got this from. I think it was from a BoxyCharm as well. This is why I keep BoxyCharm, because I love the palettes are hit or miss, but so many of them become like my absolute favorites, and I'm obsessed with it. Here's a cute little one. This is the Natasha Denona Eyebrow Shadow in dark brown. I did hit pan in this one. I don't mind eyebrow shadows. They're not my favorite. They're not like what I would pick above all else, but this is a pretty decent one. It works pretty well. and I liked it. I mean, I hit pan in it, so I've obviously used it quite a bit. It's really messy, but it's a good eyebrow powder. If you're into eyebrow powders, I recommend this one and also the other one that I hit pan in that I'll talk about in a couple minutes. Those are my two favorites. It's good. I'm not super huge into eyebrow powders, but I like them enough to use them, which I feel like says something. The ColourPop Land Super Shock Cheek in Gummy More. I love these Super Shock Cheek formulas. The formula is fabulous. The shades, so many of them are so cute. This one I did hit pan in right in the middle there, and I used it because with these I feel like the product pushes around because it is kind of like a cream formula, so it pushes around a lot, and so you can't always tell when you hit pan. So for me to claim that I've hit pan in this, it means that I've used it enough that the product hasn't been pushed around to the middle when I've used more of it, if that makes sense. So this is such a pretty shade though. The ColourPop Land collection, I liked part of it, I didn't like the other part, but the Super Shock Cheeks are always a clear winner in my book. I have several ColourPop pans. Next up is Ménage à Moi, is that how you say it? I hit pan in the Obsession shade. And also I'm really close in the glitter shades, but I don't like to count those because they're incredibly easy to hit pan in because they are basically pressed loose glitters. But I hit pan in the Obsession shade. Again, gorgeous, gorgeous palette. I love these like shades in palettes. I think they are so pretty. Definitely a good one. I haven't been super inspired by like a lot of ColourPop's recent releases in their collections, but some of them, especially the Mega palettes, those have been getting me. But a lot of the other ones, I don't know, I'm not super into. Also though, Fade Into Hue, this one, oh, of course you know I had to get it when it came out because hello. And this one, I actually did do a glitter shade, the Prismatic shade. This is, it is one of those like pressed loose glitters, but there's enough of a chunk in the middle that I feel like I used enough of it to quantify it as a pan. So I don't know, this one might be cheating, but I used it. And I've got dips in a lot of other shades, so I feel okay claiming it as a pan. Does that make sense? I love this palette. ColourPop does amazing rainbow palettes. If you're looking for a rainbow palette, I have a couple rainbow ones from ColourPop, one really old one and then the Fade Into Hue, and they are both so freaking good. ColourPop does really good rainbow shades and they blend so well. I love them. I want to say this was another BoxyCharm palette. This is the Suva Beauty Saffron. I hit pan in the shade Turmeric, which is the one right here in the middle. Again, this palette as well, I freaking love it. It's so pretty. And it actually has, like, the shades in this are different enough and varying enough that you can do kind of a wide variety of looks, but it's also simple enough that you can do really simple looks if that's kind of what you're into. It's gorgeous. I love this palette. It's so pretty. And this Turmeric shade, can we just take a second? Oh, that is so unbelievably top-notch gorgeous. I am obsessed with it. Bronzer moment, the Too Faced Milk Chocolate Soleil bronzer. I don't even think they make these anymore, you guys, and I still have so many of them. I take that back. They make them in like the new packaging, and I have the new packaging. This is old school, old packaging. Still works great though. And this is, it still smells like chocolate too. This is one of my absolute favorite bronzers of all time. These I would go almost as far as to say this is one of my holy grail bronzers. I love it. And I've had this obviously for so freaking long though, and it has taken me forever to hit pan. There's so much product in here. So there you go. Pan, finally, thank you. Took me forever. I hit pan in a couple of Milani products that I have since decluttered or used up completely, because I hit pan in the Milani Cream to Powder Foundation in 210 Creamy Nude. That one I did use up completely this year, I think. I'm pretty sure it was this year, which means it'll be in my end of the year empties. And then also the Milani Spotlight Face and Ice Strobe palette. That one I'm pretty sure I decluttered. I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure I did. Another ColourPop Super Shock Cheek. This is Between the Sheets. This is one of my absolute favorite shades that they make in this formula. It's just perfect. It is one of the best like everyday shades of blush that I've ever tried. I really hope that they still make this, because this one could probably, oh no, it's still got a good texture to it, but eventually I'm gonna wanna buy it again, and so hopefully I can still find it. This is one of my favorite shades though, and again, I kind of pushed the product around until I knew that I had like a real pan and not just a fake pan because of how moldable the product is. So, okay, this is from the Colored Rain Vineyard Soiree eyeshadow palette. This was specially made for Ipsy by Colored Rain, and I hit pan in this kind of like light purple shimmer shade over here. This kind of reminds me of like the Charlotte Tilbury palette, obviously, and they look very similar in packaging. I love this palette. I think it's so pretty, but I don't ever reach for it. So I hit pan in it when it was part of my Pan in Every palette project pan. I don't know if I plan to keep it though. I don't know. But the shades in it are really gorgeous and they work really well together. If this is the type of vibe that you like, I think this might be like a mini version of one of their other palettes. I'm not 100% sure about that. Don't quote me. That's gonna bug me now. I'll find out. I'll link it down below. Okay. I had written down on here the Beauty Blender Solid Cleanser in Lavender. I will be honest with you though, I have panned in most of mine, except for like the new ones that I just bought. And I hit pan like every time I wash my brushes because I have so many brushes that I wash at one time because I'm lazy and I don't wash them as often as I should. So I'm not counting that. I'm not going to show you guys that today. But I've hit pan in several of them. I don't know why I only wrote down one. The Basic Beauty Glowy AF. Oh, you guys, I love this. I don't know what this palette is. I've never heard of Basic Beauty before. I don't know. This is like just the most amazing kind of like cream to powdery formula, but I don't really know if I'd even consider that cream. It's beyond me what this is. It is so fabulous and it's called Wet Glow. The palette is Wet Glow. I hit pan in No Spray Tans, which is a highlight. I love this. This is one of my favorite palettes and I think again that this is just like a random BoxyCharm palette, but it is so good. The shades are so beautiful. It looks so good on the skin. I love it. If you like a glowy highlight, that palette is fabulous. Also, I hit pan on the Too Faced Semi-Sweet Chocolate Bar in the Pink Sugar shade. I have decluttered that palette because I never used it. I used it for a project pan and then immediately got rid of it because I don't like it. I don't like those palettes. They're so hard pressed, it almost becomes difficult to work with. And I say that, and I do have Too Faced palettes in my collection that I do like, but like the chocolate bar ones, they're just not my style. I don't know. Anastasia Beverly Hills Sultry. I hit pan in the Pearl shade, if you guys can see there. It is almost completely gone. There's just a little bit in the corners. I like this palette. It's a really pretty palette. It's a good neutral palette, and I feel like this is like the more eyeshadow formula that I like a little bit better than the Too Faced chocolate bar ones. I don't know. I have to figure out if I actually like Too Faced or not. Like I like the brand, but do I like the palettes? I like some of them, but I don't like all of them. Do you see my conundrum? I don't know. Anyways, Sultry. It's a gorgeous palette. I love the formula of it, and Pearl is obviously a very nice inner corner highlight, brow bone highlight, any type of highlight or shimmer shade you want. It is beautiful, and I think that Pearl is like a repeated shade in a lot of their palettes. And I don't even mind because it's so pretty. ColourPop Just My Luck. I hit pan in two shades. I hit pan in Mary Jane and Mo Bamba. Mary Jane is, oh my goodness, this beautiful like light green shimmer shade right here. This is Mo Bamba. This is a very dark green, and when I brought the palette out of my drawer and opened it to make sure that it was the correct palette, the shade, what was left of it, had shattered and got on my rug and my hands, and now I can see them. So that shade is now gone. Mary Jane has a pan in it. Okay, I like the ColourPop monochromatic palettes, I really do. I wish that they'd come out with more. I don't know what shades they come out with, I don't know. But I love the little 9-pan palettes that they do. But then there's so many of them that I end up skipping over because I don't like it. The monochromatic collection I feel like was definitely a high point for them. And I really enjoyed them. So I like that one a lot. A True and Luscious Lucky Glow Bronze and Highlight Palette. I hit pan in the Heaven Scent highlight shade. This is nice. I think again this is from BoxyCharm. I could be wrong, but the pans are huge, and I honestly was really shocked that I hit pan in a highlight when I used this because these pans are absolutely massive. I love this shade right here, the 777s. Oh, it's a really pretty palette, but pan has been hit. I hit pan in a Phase Zero Cotton Candy blusher. I'm almost positive I ended up decluttering that. I could not find that in my blush drawer, and oh, I think I used that up actually. I think I finished it because it was like a tiny little blush. We'll find out at my end of the year empties, but I'm pretty sure I finished that actually. Another ColourPop Super Shock Cheek. This was from the 2020 year of the mouse. This is the Drop of a Hat. Oh, so pretty. I do plan on trying to finish this up even though it's from 2020 because it is just, I love this shade. It's like this beautiful like kind of copper penny shade, but it wears so gorgeous on the skin. I love it, and I've hit like a good amount of pan in there. I have used up several Super Shock Cheeks in the past. I love this. Oh, so good. when I do my cheek declutter, I might pull out a couple to do like a project pan with, like I did with my liquid lipsticks. I don't know yet, but I'll probably, I mean, because my concern is that these are going to go bad because they're cream products. And I've hit pan in like a good amount of my ColourPop Super Shock Cheek collection. So that might not be far off. This one, it was from Ipsy. Okay, this is the Item Cheek Money Mood Vibes Swipe and Glow Bronzer Contour Duo. I love this. Oh my goodness. This is one of my, it's one of my favorite bronzers, and it's like, it's so funny because so many of those like random brands that I've never used before, or like I haven't really heard of very much before, that I've gotten from Ipsy become my favorite bronzers. Ipsy does a really good bronzer selection, I guess, but I hit like this really like super teeny tiny baby pan in this bronzer. Not much at all, but for a bronzer, I feel like that's pretty good because you don't hit pan in them like super often. So I'll take my applause whenever you're ready. This one is the Kenya Ontiveros Beauty Set and Define Kit. Oh, love the packaging of this. It's like faux snakeskin. I hit pan in the Set shade, which is this one right here. It's, again, a super teeny tiny pan. This palette is pretty good though. The dark contour is way too dark for my skin tone, but all in all, it's like a decent face palette. Not my favorite, but it's decent. The Kosas 8th Muse Color and Light Cream. I bought these from Boxy during one of their sales. I'm obsessed with them. So pretty. I hit pan in this shade right here, which is just the prettiest, like creamy pale pink. Do you see what I'm saying? Oh, and I ended up buying this in another color too because I loved it so much. So I hit pan in this one. I love these. They're really great, and there is like a decent amount of product in there. I had used this quite a bit before I hit pan on it, which I enjoy because then I feel like I'm getting like a good amount for my money. Urban Decay Moon Dust. Oh, I love this palette. Okay, I hit pan in the shade Light Year. Okay, I had like a green moment at one point this year. I used a lot of green shadows, a lot of like those yellowy green shadows. I love them. This palette is more of like a topper palette. I don't love that because I like to be able to just grab one palette and be done. I used 3 palettes to make my eye look today, but I don't love doing that. But also I have to sometimes, so I'm okay with it. This is a pretty palette. I do love the shades in here. They are all so stunning and so gorgeous. I do wish though that it wasn't all like those kind of topper shades. Do you know what I mean? From Morphe, the 8L Highlight and Contour Palette. I hit pan in the Literati shade. This palette has seen some rough times. I don't even know how to describe this. It has seen some rough times. It's actually a nice palette though. I do like this one. The shades work well. The Literati shade is like a little dark, you know? All in all, it's a pretty palette. I can't use some of the shades, but I like it. Oh, I have another ColourPop palette. This is the In a Trance palette. Oh, I was so obsessed with these when these came out. They're so stinking pretty, but I can never open them. I hit pan in the All Aura Again shade, which is the glitter shade. Didn't I just say that was cheating? Apparently my past self didn't agree with me. Anyways, it's a pan. I'm counting it. I love this palette though. I'm close to pan in the Clarity shade and in the Transcend Dance shade. They have pretty big dips in them, so hopefully we'll see some more pans in this soon. Another one of my all-time favorite rainbow palettes. This is the Glamlight Ice Cream Dream palette. I ended up hitting pan in the Cotton Candy shade, which is this like light blue shade. The only thing I don't like about this palette is the shades are either shimmers or mattes. They don't have like every blue is either a shimmer or a matte, but they're all different tones, you know? So there were some looks where like I'd want like, you know, like this shade of purple in a matte, you know? Maybe I'm just like overthinking this palette in particular. I love the palette though, it's so gorgeous. And their eyeshadow formula is to die for. One of my favorite eyeshadow formula brands. I love the formula. But this whole palette is gorgeous. If you love rainbow shades, I strongly recommend this. I did a whole video on this. Such a good palette. Such a good palette. I hit pan in my Becca Under Eye Brightening Corrector. I finished that off as well. And then I also hit pan in the Fiona Stiles Bronzing Sun Veil in a Hiko. I have used this again since I've hit pan in it, so the pan has expanded. This is again one of my favorite contour bronzy powders. It is so beautiful. There's like a ton of hard pan on it now that I need to remove. But it's so small, so I'm hoping to like use this up soon as well. So maybe we'll see like this in a project pan in the near future. I don't know. It's so pretty though. I love it. I really wish that Ulta still sold that brand, and I'm like heartbroken that they don't because their face products were out of this world. I have a couple more face powders. This is the It by Pores Pressed and Translucent. I have literally like 3 of these. One of them is almost completely gone. It's just the rim around the edge. One is like brand new, and then this is the one that I hit pan on this year. These powders are so gorgeous. They're wonderful translucent pressed powders. Those are my favorite pressed powders to use, is translucent pressed. Those are my favorite powders to use, is translucent pressed. And these are some of the best powders that I've ever seen. They make your skin look so good. And like literally on top of any makeup, I've never had a single issue with them. I love them. Morphe and Jaclyn Hill palette. This is like the one thing I feel like Morphe has perfected, is this palette. And I hit pan in the In Light shade, which is this one right here. Okay, I've hit a pretty decent pan in it because obviously this is like one of my most used shades of the palette. I also have a pan in Pool Party, but I feel like this is like my first pan in it, and then this one was a new pan. So now I've got 2 pans in this palette. It's so pretty. It's one of my favorite palettes. Oh, I love it so much. Okay, this one is a big one. The Huda Beauty Mercury Retrograde. This is another palette that was on my wish list for so long, and I finally ended up getting it when it was on sale at some point. And I have used and abused this palette. Okay, I have hit pan in Ultraviolet, Mercury, Nebula, and Supermoon. So this one right here is Ultraviolet. This one is Nebula. This is Mercury. And then this over here is Supermoon. And I've got some okay dips in some of the matte shades. But you guys, the shimmers in this palette are what makes it. Whatever, I don't even think these are shimmers. Chrome, foil, duochromes, I don't even know. I love them so much. This is the other brow powder that I actually like a lot. This is the KVD Vegan Beauty Brow Struck Dimension Powder in medium brown. This is really unique, and it has almost like this shimmer shift to it. And I don't know, I really like how it looks on my brows though. So this one I hit pan in, and again, I'm not normally a brow powder person, but I really enjoyed this one and the Natasha Denona one enough to use them, you know? They're good. I like them. The CoverGirl Clean Fresh Pressed Powder in Fair. There's like a baby pan in here. Any of the CoverGirl pressed powders. I have a whole bunch of them, and I've used up a whole bunch of them over the years. This is like, I think their newest one, the Clean Fresh line. These are still like just as good as the other ones. So any of the color of the CoverGirl pressed powders that come in packaging like this, any of the colors, they're all meant for different things, but they all are so good. I love them. ABH Soft Glam. I hit pan in 2 of the shades. I hit pan in Tempera, which is the just basic shade, and then in the Sultry shade. So pretty. I like this palette too. Like this, oh, something about it just speaks to me. This is what I want like a neutral palette to look like. It's so gorgeous. So love that one. I have the Vanity Makeup Sculpt and Glow palette in Fair. I hit pan in both of these shades, not in the last one, but in these 2. It's hard to tell because it's cream products, so obviously it kind of gets like scooted, the pan gets covered up when you use them. But these 2, I actually really enjoyed this palette as well. This worked much better than I thought it was going to. I had never heard of Vanity Makeup when I first tried this, so I didn't have very high expectations, but this was a good palette. Okay, last couple here. The Bite Beauty Changemaker Flexible Coverage Pressed Powder in Light 1. This is a new pan. Obviously, I like this powder. I like the whole line. Like the whole Changemaker line works pretty well for me thus far. That could change at any point in time. We never know. But this powder is actually really cute and I like it. And then also the Huda Beauty Tantour Contour and Bronzer Cream in Light. I hit pan in this, and this I'm obsessed with. It's such a beautiful cream contour. It reminds me so much of the Chanel Tan Days Soleil one. Do you know what I'm talking about? That I stopped using because it wasn't cruelty free. That's so good. I love this. And Huda is cruelty free, which is great, and it's much more affordable than the Chanel one is. So if you're looking for something, I like this one. And it comes in a large variety of shades too, and I like the packaging. Like I normally prefer like the circular packaging, but I actually do like this packaging, and it's gorgeous. Okay. Okay. I'm not putting these away until I declutter. Oh my goodness. Okay, that is everything that I have hit pan in since my last video. I will be restarting my list. Obviously I will be leaving links down to everything in the description down below. But after this video, I will be restarting my list. So one day we'll have a part 3. I try to do it when I get to around 50 pans. My first one I think was much longer because it was the first one, so I just did everything in my collection that had a pan at that point in time. But I think I'm gonna try to keep it around 50 pans. And this one was 62, but I also have decluttered some stuff. And that's why I wanted to do this video before I did my next declutter, because some of this stuff is going to end up getting decluttered as well. So best get it out of the way and talk about it, because the stuff that I don't have anymore, I can't show you the pans, and that makes me sad. So let me know in the comments down below what you have hit pans on. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Make sure you hit the bigger subscribe button below me if you'd like to see more of me, or if you're interested in those declutters and project pans and hauls that are coming up, because they are coming. And I'm really excited to do some get ready with me's and some try-ons and some reviews and stuff of the new palettes that I'm getting. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited. Okay, thank you guys so much for joining me today. I'll catch y'all next time. Have a great one. Goodbye.